Bienvenidos to
Merendiando! Ha ha! Welcome back. We missed you.
Ay, qué bonito es estar de vuelta. This season is gonna be so good, so let's get started.
Vámonos.
For this first episode of season 5, we have an amazing guest, Ghenoa Gela.
Ghenoa Gela, or G, is a strong Torres Strait Islander woman from Rockhampton, central Queensland. With her dance foundations in Torres Strait Island dance, she is a Sydney-based independent performing artist working across dance, circus, television, and stage, and soon film. Ghenoa is a recipient of the renowned Keir Choreographic Award and the deadly funny Melbourne International Comedy Festival Award. She's also an accomplished air guitarist.
You might have seen her perform in the 2019 Caminos Festival in the dance show Murabuai. Everyone, co-presented with Native Earth. We talked to Ghenoa about the lifestyle of traditional dance, how her art has no division between spectator and performer, leveling up, and her favorite animes.
Let's get into it.
Good morning.
It's 10 a.m. for you and it's 7 p.m. for us.
Yeah, what a good time frame.
What does the sky look like for you right now?
We're overcast at the moment because we float in and out of cyclone season at the moment.
Aww.
Yeah, it's a little bit annoying because I don't know if you fellas have been over this way to Australia, but in summer, in the northern part of Australia, it is proper hot. You want cyclone season to rock up because it cools everything down, even though it throws everything as well. Is like, catch-22, throws things, cools you down.
Yeah, regulating itself, doing what it's got to do.
Yeah, it's just true. I love it.
All right, well, we talked about doing a little introduction. So would you like to introduce yourself to our lucky listeners?
Yeah, sure. Name is Ghenoa Gela or Ghenoa Gela. I am a proud Torres Strait Islander woman, born on Durumble country in central Queensland, Rockhampton. My practice is I'm a storyteller, and I navigate across many industries. I would also like to take the moment to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that I am currently residing on, the actual owners of the land that I'm currently residing on, the Durumbles peoples, and pay respects to elders past and present, because this land was never ceded and it is currently occupied illegally. So, yeah. Hi.
Yeah, hey. All right, so we see that you arrived here on Earth and soon after started practicing traditional dance. That's kind of what we've heard you say in a few interviews on the internet when we very weirdly stalk you to research.
Because everything's out there.
This is true.
Ooh.
Yeah. That was the first thing that I floated into, straight out of mum and into traditional Torres Strait Islander dancing. Yeah.
Beautiful. So in one of your earlier pieces,
fragments of Malamuka. So it's like nook, you kind of like song at the NG at the end of song.
Yeah.
So you chuck that in the middle of that there it's really to wreck all the Western palettes, really.
Oh, it's so good.
But it means women of the sea. Yeah.
Women of the Sea. Awesome. So in your piece, Women of the Sea, Fragments of Malanyoka, you asked some really interesting questions about traditional dance, and we're wondering if you have any new reflections right now. What is traditional dance to you? Is it dance or a way of being? Does it only hold a sense of tradition when danced by people from that culture? And if traditional Torres Strait Islander dance is performed by non-Torres Strait Islander people, what does the dance become?
Oof. Jeez.
Just, an easy way to start this conversation. You're just getting to know each other.
This is true. Yeah, so, there's many ways. I'll tell you the main reason why those questions were at the forefront of creating this piece. It's because the way that, the arts navigates over here, it is very much a Western structure. So, I really wanted to get in this competition, and that was by questioning what you're exploring that actually helped my way in. Now, my feelings about it actually haven't changed. So traditional dance to me is a way of life. It is a representation of us, of our history, of our culture, of our connection, of our bloodlines, of our kinship. It's like, our oral history is within, and our traditional dance is only one element of that, but it is one that really, really allows us to take a picture. Like you see moving pictures of it within the movement, and you hear it within the language of the words that are being sung with the songs and dances. So it's like a moving picture. Is a dance or a way of being? For me, it's as I just said, it's a way of life. So it's all about a way of being, and the thing about learning something from small, you can see it inherently within the body of the person, within the physicality of the person, within the beliefs of the person. So, someone who's done traditional dance since they were 3, you can clearly see that the difference between somebody who's just learnt it 3 weeks ago. Like it is definitely a way of being. Does it hold a sense of tradition? Yes, it does. When you are performing, and I guess I'm biased because I'm on the inside, right? But when I perform those dances, I can't explain, but there is an empowerment of my spirit, and I know that is one of the not easy is not the right word, but it is one of the best ways to connect with my ancestors, because I know that I'm telling a story from the past and the present. So, it's like we're time traveling right at the exact same time, because I'm bringing the past to the present. Yeah, it's so amazing. And I always find that, I don't even feel like I'm dancing. I feel like I'm floating when I'm doing my traditional dance. Like it's otherworldly. So yeah, and you can see us, how we embody our stories as well within it, because we're all storytellers with everything, actually, everything that we do, whether it's verbal or song, movement, physicality, whatever it is, it's all ingrained within us. So yeah, definitely holds a sense of tradition for sure.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Nah, no worries.
And I mean, I'll share a little bit that I've been studying my own traditional dance
Amazing.
with a teacher that somehow is in Canada. Like, how wild! Like Mexico, they're Mexican, and they they lead this group. And what I've been finding is that the way of teaching is completely different than any other like Western art school kind of way of teaching that I've encountered as well.
Very different, very different. Well, because I started traditional dancing as soon as I could sit up. My dad, my parents got me straight into it. It was always it wasn't just dance. I can't even explain it. It wasn't just dance. It was something that we did every day to and it was an encompassing thing. It was a combination of discipline, of routine, of respect, and it was actually my access to culture, because the Torres Straits. I should probably give some context. So there's 2 Indigenous cultures of Australia. There's the Aboriginal people, which the world knows about, and then there's the Torres Strait Islanders, which not much of the world knows about, and barely half of Australia knows about it either. Figures. And so yeah, so I'm a part of the latter. I'm the other Indigenous culture of Australia. I mean, what's really really mind blowing is that actually Aboriginal is just a blanket word to encompass, like the Indigenous peoples of the land, like it. But actually, we've got over 300 different clans and tribes here in Australia. And that's only on the mainland, the Aboriginal mainland itself, and in the Torres Straits, we also have clan groups and totems and everything else as well. So, I think that's what I was talking about. I was talking about the mainland. So, my access, my access to my culture, because I was born on the mainland, was through dance. I learned language through dance because of the songs that we had to learn to be able to tell the stories. I learned all the stories through dance because we were expressing them with our bodies. And that I actually don't know where I would be without it. because the living in the islands and living on the mainland are two totally different worlds. You know, you can walk, like you're up on the islands, you can walk out and you can talk language straight away. I mean, it's taken a long time to get to this point. You know, when colonization first happened, they tried to eradicate everything. We were really fortunate. Somehow we managed to keep our languages and as much of our practices as we possibly could. I mean, the missionaries came through and all the devil worships and all of that kind of stuff happened. So we couldn't do our ceremonies and, an accumulation of things that I've no doubt every colonized, a group of people all over the world, Western colonized, experienced. So, so doing traditional dance was my way of connecting to my culture, to my identity, and to my ancestors.
I'm so grateful to have seen you perform in my life because it was so beautiful. And I know it wasn't necessarily a traditional dance show, but you did tour a show through Toronto, through Canada, called Murabuai, or Everyone. And Monica and I had the pleasure of seeing it.
Oh, I was so excited to take that over there because, like it literally is everyone, and the idea is that we all come together and we celebrate and we empower each other.
That's something that for me personally, and I was talking to Camila when we were prepping for the interview, that even though we as spectators, we were there to see you, you had this moment, and I think you had it with a lot of people, but I want to feel special because you had it with me. But at one point you looked at us, and I will say personally, it's like you looked at me, even though I was there to see you, you took a moment to just acknowledge me. And that brought the experience even, like, it made it more real. So how do you approach an individual intimate moment with the audience and with individual people from the audience, like as a performer?
So a part of my practice, it's not a part of it, actually, all of my practice is based on my traditional foundation, my traditional dance foundation, where everybody's involved. Like when you go to a Torres Strait celebration, a meeting, there's everybody's involved. That everyone's eating and singing and dancing and celebrating all at the same time. Like all of this happens. There is no performers and audience. It is just sharing. And when I first entered the arts industry here in Australia, I didn't understand it at all. I was confused about why there wasn't any dancing or movement with the text, and I was confused about why there was text without dancing, like the two the two are one and the same to be able to tell stories for me. And then all of a sudden there was this thing where they said that there was audience and talent. And that's really kind of, that shocked me in many ways, because us Torres Strait Islanders are quite loud people, and we love empowering each other and celebrating, like when we see something good, we want people to know about it. Like we want them to know that we saw it, and and that kind of energy, that spirit, that makes you, like when you dance harder, you have more fun with the performance. You reach for other parts of of your spirit to be able to express yourself, because you're happy that somebody acknowledged the fact that you're having a good time, or like you acknowledge that they've acknowledged you. Like there is this connection that happens, this conversation that happens, that is missing for me in the Western arts industry. So, when I go to theatre shows, I have to sit in a particular place because I'm going to be loud, and people are going to turn around and look at me, and some people might ask me to leave because I'm too loud and I might interrupt the show. But that doesn't stop me from encouraging the performers, that I totally appreciate their hard work, and that also, and being a performer, like I want to acknowledge the fact that the audiences have come out to see what I've got, like to see my story, to share a moment with me. So yeah, Murabuai is that kind of show. It's about breaking those barriers between talent and audience, because when when we tell stories, when I tell my stories now, I need people to be involved. When we're facing the world with all of this racism, with all of this xenophobia, with like all the things, that homophobia, everything that happens, there's a constant performer and audience relationship. This is just from my perception, and I'm tired of the bystanders. So,
oh yeah.
So when I get pulled over, when I get a pat down by the police officers at a train station, I actually want the audience to not be an audience. I want them to come and help me. So that is now inherent in my works. Trying to figure out how to, make the audience feel like they're actually a part of everything that we do, because they are. They're humans. We're humans. There's no. The difference is that the light is on me at the moment, but that doesn't mean that I don't acknowledge you, or vice versa.
Yeah, that's so powerful.
We wanted to ask, like, what was your experience building relationships in Canada, and as a touring artist, how do you approach building relationships while you're on tour?
Yeah, it's really important for me as a First Nations person of Australia to connect with the First Nations people everywhere in the world, because I understand what it feels like to be invisible, and I understand what it feels like when our voices aren't heard, or when our bodies aren't seen, and Muriboy was created to give a platform for that. So we have a space to tell our stories and share it with people, what I really wanted to find out was if there could be an international intercultural exchange of a show, and what it might look like, even though the struggles are the same, they're totally different, but we're all under this Western eye of oppression, and how do we empower each other to be able to push through that? So that's Muriboy is built in a way that anybody can actually be a part of it, and it it's so, I mean, Monica, were you the one that jumped up and played that game with us?
No, that was Camila.
I played.
Oh, Camilla. Man, yeah. Yeah, I totally did, because that was the best part of that show.
It was.
For me as a performer, when I move an audience member to be an active participant, I've done my job. I've moved somebody so much that they actually want to be a part of it. That's what I want. That's how I want to tell my stories. I want people to take an active role for themselves, and that was the best part. Like, we were buzzing about it. We're like, oh, man, what about when that girl jumped up and came up? Like, we were just so excited about it. And we're still talking about it. We're like, oh, that's it. That's what it's. Yeah, that's like. That is the type of sharing. That is the type of sharing that I would like to achieve within my practice. Like, the art is life for me. I'm a storyteller. I'm not just a storyteller on the stage. I'm actually a storyteller in my life. The stage people is just more focused. Like, people just kind of rock up. Yeah, and obviously, like, I get paid for it, which is exciting, but that aside, that there's no difference between being on stage and off stage. So that was really exciting for us.
Yeah, it was such a beautiful show. Like, there was no way that I think anyone could leave that and not be moved or changed in some way. Like, it just, because of the honesty of it, and it was just so beautiful. Man, it was so beautiful. But I think that paradigm of being an artist, being a creator, and trying to do it within an industry that operates in a certain way, and then remembering that you don't have to, that's not the only way to create, is such an important thing to hold on to.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And you got to find moments where you can do that for yourself, because even though there's got a massive wall up there, there's people holding some doors open, and they could be like in of any color opening that door open. It's a matter of you taking the first step to get in there and then break the door down so that there's no door anymore. It's just an open passage.
Let's just soak that in.
I know. Like, let's just replay that over and over again.
Let's remix it. I don't know why, but I'm kind of compelled to ask you about Move It Mob Style.
Yeah, cool.
That's a little because you were talking about, getting people involved, like really involving people. So this is what we were able to find on the internet. If you have, let me know if this is an accurate description of what this is. But Move It Mob Style, for what we found, is a beautiful like television show for youth, for kids, that teaches dance. And you were like one of the people on it.
Yeah. So the premise of Move It Mob Style was to show a positive blackfellas on TV, right? Like, so in Australia, we call, like, the First Nations people of Australia, we call each other blackfellas, you know, because it doesn't matter what color skin you have. What matters is your bloodline, and you know, so everybody's got that blood. They're just a blackfella. That's how you go. But that show was created to put positive role models on TV, because there's none here in Australia, you know, like not on the prime time. And if there is, there's only one. So we're still very much it's still very much a racist country, like much of the world.
Oh yeah, you're not alone.
Yeah. And we're still struggling to find visibility in primetime places, you know. So Move It Mob Style was lucky to be snatched up by ABC. ABC is one of the best, actually is probably the best TV channel over here that shows a lot of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander content. Yeah, and you know, Move It Mob Style was needed at the time to break the horrible cycle of colonization, really, when they came in, and you know, and we went on to rations of tobacco, flour, and alcohol. Like it just decimated our communities. And so Move It Mob Style is this fun, upbeat. We talk about, and it's also sharing with the whiter community as well, because we talk about the different countries that we're on, and we talk about the different tucker, like the food that you can find, the bush tucker that you can find on those countries. They teach you language within a show. Like, you can actually watch it on YouTube.
Oh, we watched it.
We did.
Awesome. And what it, you know, and it's encompassing for everybody, because when we do our dancing, you know, there's no age limit. You know, you as soon as you can sit up or as soon as you can walk, you know, you're already starting to learn your dances, and you keep going all the way through until you can no longer get up anymore. Actually, no, that's a lie, because my dad, he can't walk very well, but he still does dances in his chair. So, you know, like that's just what we do and how we roll. So, you know, that the concept of Move It Mob Style was really pivotal at that time, because we were actually on a platform that had all of us on it, and a whole variety of us, and all of our shades as well, you know. So that was a huge achievement within our arts industry, for sure, and you know, the education on a broader sense in the nation, because they actually could see all these different types of blackfellas in Australia. So it was very cool.
There's so many things you just said. Like I'm sure you talked to folks when you were here, but about the rations, like that sounds like right here too. Like tobacco, bag of flour, like that's it. Like, yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's what they did. Yeah,
that's what they did. But something I'm curious about is the fusion of hip hop and traditional dance, which I saw there, which is so interesting.
Yeah, we are heavily influenced by the African American world culture, you know, because they were, when I was growing up, the only black people I saw on TV was Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, you know, like Oprah. Yeah, like all the African American people. There's barely, if any. Actually, I don't even remember any Aboriginal people or Torres Strait Islander people on TV when I was growing up. It was just all African American people. So their culture, which is actually what's really interesting, is that, you know, their fight for their life coincides with us because of our skin, but we are the origins. So our plight is at the same level, so to speak, with the Native Americans, with the Turtle Island mob. You know, like, we're First Nations, but we got black skin. But there's two separations in Turtle Island, you know, and yeah, so it always blows my mind just thinking about that stuff. But yeah, African American people totally paved the way for us to find our skin on platforms, and actually an African American woman when she came to Carol Johnson, her name is, when she came to Australia, she was the one that actually instigated our first Indigenous, so Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander dance school, and transformed it, and then it shifted into our first company, which is Bangara, that travels all over the world. Yeah. So that was started by an African American woman, and that wouldn't have happened without her, because the racism within our society, right? Like the thing is that this is obviously all of my opinion.
Oh, but we're here for that. We're here for
that. You know, Australia doesn't make moves unless America does. So when an African American person comes to the Australian continent, the last thing Australia wants to look like is racist, right? Because they're black as well. So for me, she was the acceptable black because she wasn't of the origin of Australia. And I'm not taking anything away from Carol by any means. I'm so thankful that she came here, because she opened up the way for us to even express ourselves on a modern platform, you know, instead of being the ooga boogers in the background with the paints and the spears and, you know, and the nose, like the bones through our noses in the Torres Straits, or, you know, like all the eating of people, which wasn't even a part of my people anyway. But, you know, like, so she allowed us, she gave us space, man. She was the one that actually broke that door down and made it a passageway. So I personally have a lot to thank African American people and their culture, because they saved me. You know, I wanted to be a backup dancer for Janet Jackson or Missy Elliott, and that gave me so much strength and empowerment within myself, because when I saw their film clips, I saw myself. So they're a huge influence over here.
Yeah, it's just so wonderful to talk to you, because we don't get to talk to folks from Australia. Like, we never get to by accident. Rarely do we run into folks and get to have this discussion, you know?
Yeah, cool.
And right now because of Uncle COVID, because we can get together in festivals. I think that was one of the biggest thing for the theater festival, because we got to know you, and now we have the internet. So
yes. Oh man, it was so great to meet you guys. Like after that workshop that we did. Yeah. Me and Danielle, we were totally inspired by you guys, and we would love to take Muraboy back and do another version with a whole other group of people, because that's the structure of it. The structure of it is that, you know, we have a foundation of Torres Strait Islanders, and we go and we share our Torres Strait Islander culture with, you know, with other people who would like to share as well.
And also the impact, I like, with this isolation that we have been living, if you bring that show back after a world that has, and like an audience that had been isolated, what an experience would it be?
Next level. Yeah, that's cool.
So going off of all the research we did on you, we saw that you won the Deadly Funny National competition in 2017.
What don't you do?
Yeah.
I know. And also we saw you were in So You Think You Can Dance, and before the interview you told us you are quite competitive. So what is your relationship with competitions?
So the other part of my background is sport. When I was going through school, you know, the language barrier was really prevalent when I first started, so I couldn't make friends. I got bullied a lot, and I just wasn't confident enough to talk, because I couldn't read very well either. So the academic side of me was very, very limited, and to the point of, you know, like I just didn't want to stand out anywhere. But for some reason, and I truly believe it's from my traditional dancing, because I had next level hand-eye coordination. So sport was my jam. I could understand it. It was really straightforward. you know, I'm surrounded by brothers. So I've got a sister, I got two brothers, there's me, and then there's a little brother. And my two older brothers, they were pretty damn good at, actually my eldest brother, he was really good at sport. And there were moments where he was just like, yeah, nah, you can't do that. And I'm like, why? He was like, well, because girls don't really do that. You know, that was the flavor of the 90s, right? Like the big difference between like you throwing like a girl and you actually being like a top guy, you know, in a sporting team. So I made it my, you know, like my journey to throw like a girl so good that people wanted to be called, oh, you throw like a girl. So I went next level in my competitiveness. I was like, oh yeah, what can you do? Yep, I can do that too. Yep, I can do that too. And I just challenged all the lads when I was growing up. So that massive competitiveness comes from my sport and the need to show that girls can do anything, women can do anything with hard work and dedication. You know, whatever's within my power, I can totally do. So I'm going to try and do it. And you know, at the end of it all, a couple of years ago, I told myself that at the end of it all, I want to be the ultimate G, and I don't want to have any regrets. So, you know, if I see something, then I'm going to try it, regardless of whether I have the skills for it or not.
How's that going for you?
Good.
Yeah, you're a winner of the Deadly Funny National.
I also won the Kia Choreographic Championships as well. And you know, it's not on the internet because it was before internet, which kind of shows my age. But I was and you know, like I say this because it was such a fun thing to do in my 20s. But I was the first female to win a state titles for air guitar in Australia. Yep. And then I was the first person to win consecutive titles for state. And then I was the first female to make it to nationals. And then I was the first female to place in nationals. And then I was the first person to place consecutively at nationals. I didn't win it though. I missed out by 0.4 points in the last national round that I did. It was an amazing experience, and you know that really put performance actually into perspective, because it was before I started performing. That was I started really late. By the Australian industry standards, like performance starts when you're 13 or something, but I didn't get into like proper performance, or the Western performance, till I was 28. So much later, but you know, not out of the ballpark by any means. No,
And
I'm ready to
you were fermenting. It's like there's no race.
Oh, look, man, experience and quality over quantity every time. Doesn't matter your age. Like, if you got it, that's it.
And as a storyteller, you were just collecting more stories to tell.
Absolutely. And nothing beats experience, man. You know, you can have this, you know, and I'm also you can have somebody coming in doing all sorts of tricks, but if they don't believe in the tricks, and if they don't have any foundation behind the tricks, then, you know, like, what are you looking at? You're just looking at pretty stuff. I'm not saying that that's bad and that's not valid or anything by any means. I'm not, but what's missing is always the appreciation for experience. You know, I always want my elders around because they know all the things. They've been there, they've done that. You know, that life is way too short to be learning everything by yourself. So I always feel like elders get overlooked. So experience, quality, all the time.
I am curious, like, what is a song that you would recommend if people wanted to get into air guitar? Like, what would you recommend people listen to? Like, what's your song?
Well, you know, I always said that if I ever went to Finland, because that's where the World Championships was at the time, I would have taken, Incubus, Certain Shade of Green.
Ooh.
That was the one that was, you know, like in the 90s, that's what I was jamming hard with. But recently I started getting into Queen. And man, those solos in Queens are
Brian
like,
May.
Oh,
Brian May's got
man,
it.
that guy doesn't muck around.
Ugh.
So, you know, every now and then, like I'll chuck on a Queen song and I'll still try and play it, air guitar. Yeah, because it's, you know, the appreciation is like, yeah, it's all there for that guy, next level fella.
I have a question about kind of veering off of the competitions, the, you know, amazing comedy award that you were given. What makes you laugh?
Everything.
Yourself.
Yeah, you know, I mean, to be honest, because of the oppression, right? You find ways of finding the positive side of things, even in the, you know, in the worst scenarios, which is life, really. You know, if humor is everything. Humor is life for me, because that is the one thing that is so infectious for people, man, and always brings people's hearts to the table, is laughter, is comedy, is humor, is, you know, it's universal, man. Like there's if somebody has an infectious laugh, you can't help but laugh, and everybody feels good about it. You know, no one's going to get like, you know, no one's going to get angry about somebody inciting them to laugh. Unless, of course, you know, like you're going to get detention or something, then you're just like, damn, that's bad. But but no one like stops mid laugh and goes, stop it, stop making me laugh, I'm feeling really good. Like no one's going to do that, right? They're just going to laugh with you. Yeah, and the best laughs is when you have that proper big belly laugh, tears rolling out of your eyes. You need to double over because, you know, your belly's so like, it's so good. Like, I love them. So yeah, kind of anything. Really good humor. Anime actually makes me laugh a lot. Japanese humor runs so parallel to my thinking. Sometimes, you know, like it runs so parallel to blackfella humor. It like inspires me. Like for everything. Yeah. Oh, I had the biggest laugh watching an anime the other day.
What anime was it, if I can ask?
Oh, so One Piece is my favorite anime, but I navigate through all of them. Actually, I don't have a particular one that I don't watch. But yeah, yeah, Luffy's he's a character. That's the guy that I want to be when I grow up. Because he's just like this is my goal, and I'm going to go for it. So I'm like, yep, you know what? I can do that too. Let's do that. So yeah, I like, yeah. Sometimes my mum comes down and she's like, what happened? What are you laughing at? I'm like, oh, no, I'm just watching this anime. And she's like, oh. But yeah, anything really. That was a really long way to say anything.
Listen, that was good. We liked the journey.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Be proper awkward otherwise.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, I don't know. I was like, I want to laugh about everything too. And I love comedy. But I was just thinking that. No, because I do I do a lot of comedy. And I always find comedy is such a great way to also connect with the audience right away. Like it's such a medium stand-up, sketch or improv is like you get the reaction instantly. Either they like it or not like it, and you know it the moment.
That's so true. That is so true.
It leaves your mouth, and I love it. And I was thinking that as a person who does comedy as a movement, dance, theater, it's like how do you decide what to do with your art practice? Like as a multidisciplinary artist, where do you go and how do you add elements to whatever piece you're doing?
That's a great question. So the way that I navigate my storytelling, I first lead with the need to empower my people. So I go with everything that we're familiar with, and that's movement and that's laughter. So that's how I, you know, incite my or inspire my way of creating. Because, you know, we're constantly being put in all like in against the white lens, right? We're constantly in that, and that gaze is detrimental to all of us still, and it's no more or no less. It just is. So I always try to figure out a way that when there's like, because, you know, our audiences, the arts industry is, anyway, that's a whole other thing. But you know, the majority, right? The majority here in Australia anyway, is there's at least 95%, well, 90% white. You know, and that's because, and I'm not saying that's actually, no, I'm not saying anything. I just won't say anything. But
I mean, it's a fact. There's no judgment yet.
Yeah. And the ticket prices are ridiculous, you know, but also the space itself, it feels white. So not a lot of blackfellas are going to go to these places because they already know what it feels like, you know. So my duty, I feel, actually I've made it my own duty, is to break that kind of space, that barrier within the space. And yeah, what I want to invite blackfellas to come and rock up to a show because they know they're going to see themselves. They're going to hear something that they know, you know. With my one woman show, my Uruguay, I can do that in so many different versions depending on how many black people are in the audience. If there's no blackfellas, I'll play it one way. If there's blackfellas, I'll play it another way. And the comedy that I do within it is, you know, I talk directly to my mob when that comedy scene rolls in, and I know they're in the audience. I talk directly to them, and that, you know, that's meant to be, that's a scene for 3 minutes, right? But when they're in the audience, I might push it to about 4. So because the play, there's so much play that we do with each other that nobody else knows it, and that, you know, like what's really fun is when we got a joke going on that no one else knows about.
Yes. I love
you know, but they feel it. Like the white fellas feel it, and they can't help but feel joyous about it because they see all of these other black fellas having a good time. So yeah, my premise is always to lead with the mob first and the translation for the white fellas after, because I never want to not educate. Like I find that an obligation for myself because there's young people coming after me. So what am I going to leave behind? What am I going to do to help make sure that they don't feel the way that I feel when I walk into these places and spaces, when we are in fact the original storytellers? You know, like that is ingrained with us. We didn't write our history. We embody our history. So putting it into a modern space, into a Western space, how do we do that? Well, we just got to take ourselves. So we got to fill this. Like this is what I perceive. Like my plan is to fill as much of the space with me as possible. And I know that might sound quite egotistical, but by the end of it all, when another black fella steps in, then I'll fill it with their energy. And another one will fill it with their energy, and then it'll just be encompassing so much blackness in that space, or so much culture, or so much connection to identity, that no one's even going to question going in there. They'll just be like, yeah, I'm just going to cruise over here. You know, like it's not even going to be like, I'm going to go to the theater. It's not even going to be that. It's like, hey, you fellas going to the show tonight? You know, like that's what I want. That's what I want for the young people to be able to step into something. And then them also create energy and space within that to break down doors and make a passageway as well. So then we're just, by the time, you know, I don't know, 50 years rolls down, there's so many passageways that nobody can stop us.
Yeah. So we are in Uncle COVID land. We are in
totally in Uncle COVID land.
Pandy. Gosh. Yeah. And I'm wondering, what has your creative practice looked like these days, if anything? Jeez, no judgment here. It's a world.
My gosh, it has been a journey. Yeah, so when Uncle COVID first rocked up to the doorstep here in Australia and decimated the arts industry, I lost 2 years of work overnight, and it put me in a darkness that I've never known before. Fear, vulnerability, next level, right? Because we're artists, right? We explore vulnerability all the time. That's what we do. We're like professional, vulnerable people that want to share our vulnerability all the time, you know. But at that time, I didn't even know what to do with it. Didn't know how to navigate it. Didn't know how to feel. Didn't know how to think. Didn't know, because all of a sudden everything was so real, right? Like no rent, I could be homeless, I had no money for food, I was down to one meal a day, and even then, like I was scraping that together, and I was so fortunate that I had friends and family around me that were dropping off food because I couldn't live. So yeah, it totally it took more than just my legs out. Like the ground just opened up, and I just kept falling. And then what was really scary was that I was comfortable in it. Then after a little while, I was like, you know what, is this yeah, okay. There's no point anyway. So what's the point, you know? And I was really fortunate to have like particular people around me, my mentors around me, to just go, all right, get up, you know, get up, stand up, go and have a shower. Because Uncle COVID, right? It stopped. Like that guy rocks up and locks your door. You can't even leave your apartment. And I was lucky that I had that I had mentors to try to open my mind outside of the apartment, if that even makes sense. So even though the physical G couldn't leave, they were trying to support the mental G to be able to still find purpose in the world, so to speak, at the time. And then we had sorry business. So sorry business is when somebody passes away in the family. And so I had sorry business where we lost a couple of family members. And because I was in a totally different state, I couldn't go home, and the connection to family was lost. And, like there were so many things that it just totally, the ground just opened up and I just kept falling. And then ended up finding a small gap to get home. And and then I was like, okay, well, the arts is dead. Everyone's like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fun. I was like, for you guys, it's totally fine. You only got 6 months off. Like, we still don't even know when all of the theaters are going to open. And how many people can be in the theaters to even watch what we do. I mean, obviously it's getting better now that we're further away from the initial impact. But what it showed me was that I do a lot of things with people. Doesn't matter what I do, as a director, as a performer, as a choreographer, as a teacher. Everything I do is in connection with human beings, other human bodies in the same space. So what Uncle COVID did was that he totally showed me what I couldn't do, and that was everything. So that wrecked me. And then, and then Arnie Zoom rocked up and she was like, hey, man, got these things going on. How do you feel about it? And I was like, oh, yeah, right, I'll give it a go. And I tried to do a dance. I don't know if anybody's tried to do a dance class over Zoom. Oh. It is horrible. Oh. It is like the worst idea ever in your life. Oh, my gosh. And I'm not saying about
the soul a little.
Yeah. It totally does, because you don't have that interaction. And I was trying to connect with the young people in remote community, and they were really excited, but I couldn't react and interact with them. So, and it was proper delayed, and the music was delayed. So I'd do this move and I'd be like, why aren't they doing that move? Oh, they're doing the move now. And it just totally killed the spirit.
Auntie Zoom's trying to choreograph over your work.
Oh man, she was just trying to take over, and I was like, Auntie Zoom, I'm out. So I stopped teaching dance over Zoom because it was literally crushing my soul. And then I turned around and I was like, okay. I've been touring now literally for the last 15 years of my life. And every time I've gone home, I've only gone home for like 3 days, maybe 6 days at most, maybe every second year. So I wasn't seeing my family very much at all. And then I went, okay, well, you know what? Maybe the universe is gone. It's time for you to slow down and maybe go reconnect with your family. So I came back home, which is Durumble country, and been hanging out with my family, catching up with my brothers, and my sister's currently up here at the moment from Sydney, and hanging out with my mum and learning language and revisiting old like dances that I used to do. And I found writing. Yeah. So I literally went into, okay, so if I physically can't be in the space with anybody, what else can I do? So I took on some voiceover courses, and I took over some writing courses. So yeah, that's what I did. I was like, all right, well, we're going to skill up. And when Uncle COVID finally, goes and dies somewhere, oh my gosh, I'm going to be hitting the world so hard. They'll be like, oh my gosh, since when can you do all these things? So yeah, the competitive spirit is even stronger than before, because I was like, man, I'm going to be so next level when I come out. People won't know what to do with me.
The thing is, you already are as you are. You are already an incredible artist and person. and you're just trying to stunt on us.
And what is it? What is the next thing? What are you bringing to us?
So I was really fortunate. I landed an application where I can create a short film.
All right.
Yeah. That's on the cards as a writer, director, performer. I'm just going straight in there. I would love to take Murabuai back to Toronto. Actually, that's the show that I want to take back, because that means that I can engage with the community there, like with you guys. Yeah. That would be amazing to do a Murabuai with you two and some of the other crew. Like, that would be next level for me and Dee.
Here. You say the word. You'll write the grants. Like,
oh yeah, call us over. We'll do our grants on this side. You guys do your grants on that side, and we'll make it happen again. Because Murabuai can be told in so many different ways, and to have that connection with each other would be so amazing.
Jeez, I can't even think about performance right now. It makes me so happy and so sad.
I know, it's hectic. It's so hectic. But yeah, Murabuai I can totally take over there. But the other show that is totally presentable and tourable is actually my show, My Uruguay.
Yeah,
so that's that one woman show. Yeah. I mean, there is some audience connection in that, but nothing like Murabuai. So bring both shows over.
Listen, I'm going to contact my local representative and demand.
Oh, look, I'm keen for it, for sure. Because the ultimate goal for Murabuai is to take it to every continent in the world. Yeah, that's the plan. Oh yeah, it will. It'll happen, because I want it to happen as well.
And whatever show you do, we're gonna go see. So don't worry. Whatever is you bring, or whatever we can go, we'll go see it.
How can folks over here follow your work?
Well, Instagram is the thing that I float mostly, but I also have a Facebook page. Gosh, actually don't do a lot on the socials, like in terms of putting my work out there. This is a good conversation. It means I need to do more.
Well, if people want to follow your work, which you should all do that, we'll put some links in the show notes. Well, this has been amazing. We want to start to wrap up the conversation with some important questions that we ask all of our guests.
Okay, go me.
So this podcast is called Merendiando, which I realized when I told Camila, let's name it like this, that not a lot of people will know what it means. But Merendiando comes from merienda, which is like snack time. That's something that my family
awesome
used to do. Like, we just have a little merendita with some food and coffee and just chat.
Baked goods.
Yeah, and if
oh, nice.
If we were together, which one day will be, we will record this by sharing some food. But right now, because we're doing this over Zoom, we wanted to ask you, what is your favorite snack right now? And we now open it to not only being food, like you can tell us something that right now you really like to eat, or something that you are really enjoying reading or listening. So it can be food, books, music, whatever you want to share with our amazing audience.
Yeah, like a snack for the soul.
Oh, a snack for the soul. Anime is my snack for the soul. Yeah, any type of it. It takes me out of which is funny, right? Because it takes me out of reality, but it also inspires my reality. But in terms of food, I've been smashing mango and watermelon here.
How dare you?
Yeah, because we're in mango season. I'm not sure about watermelon season, but watermelon in summer here, oh my gosh, it is Yeah, proper. It's just lovely. So I'll grab my mango and my watermelon, and I'll sit down and I'll watch an episode of anime.
Yeah, so the next question we like to ask is because this is a series where we interview different artists and people who are involved in systems change and social justice and social change.
Amazing.
Yeah, so we love to talk to people from all over, and it's such an honor to be able, again, to talk to you. We like to ask our guests.
Totally chuffed that you guys asked me.
Yeah, all right. Like, we like to ask our guests, do you have a question for our next guest? Our next guest is also an artist, also really engaged in systems change and justice. And if you could ask them a question, what would it be?
I'm very passionate about legacy. So my question would be, within your artistic practice, is there, are you thinking about now or are you thinking about tomorrow? And will your practice open a space or make those passageways for the next generation?
Can't wait to ask the question. Can't wait. And if you listen to the next episode, you'll hear that person respond to that question.
Haha, cool. That sounds like a plan.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
Thank you lovely ladies. All the things, big love, sending bulk love over that way.
Big
and
time.
Man, sending bulk energies into the universe for us to all collaborate together. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm gonna be sending some prayers for you and your family also.
Oh, thank you. Likewise over there.
Yeah.
Bukova needs to take his family and just bounce.
We are speaking to you from the shores of this beautiful Zaga Igan, known to some as Lake Ontario, in Toronto, or Tuggeranto. This is the ancestral territory of the Haudenosaunee, or Longhouse Confederacy, the Anishinaabeg Nation, the Wendat, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. This land is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum and Treaty 13, also known as the Toronto Purchase.
At Aluna, we remember that people can begin to heal when they are hurt. We are committed to artful participation in disagreements. We are committed to unsettling ourselves towards connection, respect, and justice for all people who now live in this city, which has been a meeting place since time immemorial.
Radio Aluna Theatre is produced by Aluna Theatre, with support from the Toronto Arts Council, the Ontario Arts Council, the Canada Council for the Arts, the Department of Canadian Heritage, and the Metcalfe Foundation.
Aluna Theatre is Beatriz Pisano and Trevor Shelness, with Sue Ballant. Radio Aluna Theatre is produced by Mónica Garrido and Camila Díaz Varela. For more about Aluna Theatre, visit us at alunatheatre.ca, follow at Aluna Theatre on Twitter or Instagram, or like us on Facebook.
Miigwech and Nyawangoa.